Today on the top shelf, we have the infamous yapper Yaccine from X.com, who created Dingboard, a popular meme tool, and we chat about his journey going from creating Dingboard into becoming an engineer at X, how to psyop your brain into loving working, how easy hardware is, and most importantly, how to respect your users. Today's episode is also brought to you by Turso. More on that later, and I hope you enjoy this episode of the top shelf. First off, what are you streaming from? What is going on in here? I see a lift, like some sort of pole station. Are you
true.
just Jim broing hard right now?
So my logic was, when you're like trying to make habits and you're like trying to what you got to do is you got to change your environment, because you can't change yourself. You're a piece of shit. Like, everyone's a piece of crap. But your environment is something you can change. So I was like, well, if I need to get to my office, which is a place I go very often and I spend a lot of time in, if I have to walk through my squat rack, I'll feel at least a little bit guilty. And so far it's been exactly 6 months since the last time I squatted.
No, but to be fair, you are spending a lot more time in the squat
gym.
rack.
Exactly.
Yeah, you spend seconds there every day.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, hey, Yap, I know this is going to be kind of shocking for you, but I built my gym around my stream room. So I have to walk through my gym to get to the stream room, because I believe in changing the environment to make it as easy as possible to do the right thing. The only difference is that I go to the gym every day.
But you work out?
Yeah.
He really hit you with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I work out. I don't cry.
Yeah, working out is great. It's I think having it too close to your computer can be kind of difficult, because your computer is basically this attractor that sucks you away from things. It is, at least for me. So it's kind of difficult for me to keep up my good habits when I have a computer nearby. You can't really have a computer in your bedroom, for example, because you basically will never sleep. I recently started using a laptop more often, and I've been sleeping a lot less as a result. So
just don't bring it in your room.
Yep.
That's it. No, I know, but you know how the problem is, even with working out, all of a sudden you're just like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just do the set and then quickly jump on and just fix one, just type for a few seconds during my rest phase. And then you just do one set.
Yes. If you don't treat it like something where you're actually completely disconnected from your computer, from your phone, you can't actually focus on the workout itself. And if you don't focus on the workout yourself, you're kind of denying yourself the enjoyment of it, right? You kind of want to actually enjoy the workout, is what I find, at least. And having those chances to disconnect is really, really important when you're someone like us who's connected all the time. Your job is being connected, right? Whether it's your day job or what you do as a streamer, right? So
yeah.
Sorry if I'm a little bit awkward, by the way. I apologize. I'm not very good at this. So I'm going to pretend that this is like a meeting with people, and I think I'll feel a bit more comfortable.
Oh, well, then we probably should have spent 30 minutes at the beginning wasting time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I've wasted enough time today.
All right. Well, hey, I know your time is valuable and you got a lot of things to do, crushing out some sweet stuff over there at X. And so we kind of just only have a few questions, and we'll just let you go.
Sure.
And just wind yourself up and just take off like a rocket. And we haven't done an intro yet, though.
Yep, sure.
Okay.
So
TJ, what was that?
nice.
That was a great one. Rocket.
I don't know. To wind you up like a rocket, I was just not expecting that as the intro phrase. But I'm here for it, I guess. I'm stuck. I'm stuck in this podcast. So
you're here, TJ. All right, TJ, why don't you do the introduction and first question? Let's start this off.
I will. Well, welcome to Top Shelf. We're gonna leave in that introduction of Jim rambling, because I think that's going to be an apt representation of this episode. Leave it in. And we've got Yaccine with us here today. Yap, you are infamous for Dingboard, for Ding LLM, and for apparently bringing back the gun emoji to X. The first thing we wanted to talk about with you, though, is about building in public and how that sort of changed the trajectory of your career. So hit us with some info on that history.
So I first joined Twitter at the time, now known as X. I think 3 years ago, I started posting kind of often. And really what I was doing was I started following someone called AK Holic and another person called Aaron K. And I followed them for the machine learning papers that they were just sharing. And I would build cool stuff around the stuff that they shared. Also, Yannick Kilcher is another person. And then I started posting about it. So the first thing I did was I worked on an automatic rep counter in my home gym, because I couldn't actually keep track of my reps. I was too lazy to do that. The project was a failure. But I was posting about it.
Now you can track the reps. It's just 0, right? So it's like
exactly. I've already solved the problem. So what ended up happening is as I posted more, and I think this is what the big effect was on my enjoyment of these hobbies, is that I created this kind of like flywheel where the more I posted, the more I was motivated to work on cool stuff on my free time. And I basically just didn't stop doing that until I got to a point where I built something called Dingboard. You can check it out at dingboard.com. I work exactly 0 hours on it right now. I have a fella, and his name is Crypto, or that's what I call him. He works on it right now, but it's an image editor that you use to make memes really quick. And I was making memes on X, and I was like, well, all the tools to make images suck. Like Photoshop sucks. I don't want to learn this. I just want something that works in a web browser. So I built dingboard.com and actually started beginning to take off. So that was during maybe a 1-year sabbatical I took. So I used to work at Stripe before that. And I just took a year off to basically be a NEET. And it was a really, really fun year.
To be a what? Sorry, what is that term?
NEET. So not in education, not in employment, and not in training. So basically a complete useless piece of crap.
Oh, what we do.
Yes.
Yeah, that's our job, Brian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Self-descripted. Yeah. Right.
You guys ever go around and tell people I'm a startup owner? Because technically you guys are startup owners. I'm a huge fan of Minecraft content creators because they're actually running real businesses and they make pretty good cash flow and they employ people and they create jobs. And I've been pretty much very keenly watching Minecraft YouTubers and almost kind of trying to learn from them how they do things, how they optimize their workflows and stuff. So I would actually say that you guys aren't NEETs. You guys are kind of more like startup founders. And it's this new kind of startup where you work for yourself. You don't need funding. And it kind of is a self-perpetuating thing, right? Both of you guys could actually just work on a product and you're working on what you're excited about too. So I think that's really, really cool. So I want to call you guys NEETs. And I think my NEEThood was very short-lived. It took me, I was making no money for 3 months and I built Dingboard and it kind of basically blew up. So
you were also founder mode.
Yeah, it wasn't even that hard, right? I built the first version of Dingboard, watching a really crappy coming of age movie with my wife on my couch. It's just that something didn't exist. It's just I'm actually serious. How hard could it possibly be? It's just a web canvas and dragging pix buffers around. It's fine. So yeah, it wasn't even that hard. I wasn't even trying that hard. You could tell I'm not trying hard because it's not super successful. It's if I really wanted to make it a lot more successful, I would. I'm kind of I'm not like you guys, I think, where I kind of just do whatever I'm interested in. It doesn't matter if it is super successful or not. What really I want to do is have fun and tinker and goof around, right?
Yeah, Prime is really good at starting a project that I think is fun. And he's really good at that part.
Got him. Okay, hold on. Let's get back to this. Okay, so hold on. Yaccine. So you built Dingboard simply because you just wanted to make memes on the internet, but you didn't have the tool you wanted, right? You didn't like GIMP. You didn't like Photoshop because it's too high effort. GIMP is too high effort too, really, in the end.
It's just I don't want to click on anything. I want to go to dingboard.com or it's the same thing with X. Why X is why people post so much on X is because you go to x.com and there's a post box right in front of your face and you do the thing and then you leave. Stop wasting my time. If you're trying to install Photoshop, what do? You go to photoshop.com or whatever their website is. And there's 5 things you have to click. I don't have time to click on 5 things. In fact, it would be faster for me to re-implement Photoshop instead of just clicking through and installing Photoshop and learning it and stuff. It's just something didn't exist and I just built it. A lot TJ, you built Telescope and lazy NVim. I'm sure that it was an actual problem that you had yourself, and then you put it out and it was something I kind of bootstrapped off of and started using NVim. And I think a lot of really great things kind of come from people just getting frustrated with what's out there and building it yourself, right?
Yeah, and just exploring something fun. A lot of the reason I started Telescope at the time was I was working a lot on the Lua integration for Neovim. And so I just wanted to push the boundaries of where we were and sort of get a feel for what does it take to build a much larger Lua plugin than just, here's 25 key maps to set window management or something like this, right? I was okay, well, what if I did something kind of big where it would have to sort a bunch of things and filter, and then, I'm going to need to do custom key maps and all. And so doing that in Telescope brought a bunch of ideas to the forefront, which was fun because I was trying to fix all of those things, right? And then I got to do that. So yeah, I totally agree. Like scratching your own itch for those is a great way to find out something that's actually useful instead of just being told, oh, we need a fuzzy finder. Like it would not have been as nice if someone just like commanded me to build that and said, go do this for 6 months. It would not have been good.
And that plugin that you wrote is basically why the plugin system is so good, right? Like I've been making fun of people for using VS Code for like the past 6 months, but the truth is that I've been using Nvim for only like 6 months. I just pretend online that I've been using it for like 3 years.
The timing is so random. The timing is like so weird.
Yeah, I know. You just maybe one day decide to make fun of VS Code and also stop using it at the same time. Same day.
So, and like I kind of noticed that like Nvim is almost built for plugin development, right? Like I saw you, TJ, earlier you were building like an LLM plugin, and it wouldn't be like that unless you actually tried to build a plugin for it, right? Like what ends up happening when you're just doing stuff is that you come across all these different things that are in the way, and those are the really great product ideas, and you can basically build it for yourself, right? Like things are a lot easier now than it was for like our parents, maybe like in the 80s. There's so much documentation out there. Everything's like just easy to figure out. Like if I want to set up Nvim, I just go to YouTube and I go like lazy Nvim, and then there's a guy who talks to me for like 20 minutes and tells me exactly what to do, what buttons to press on my keyboard. There's like a lot of like content, like you put up like so much great content that teaches people how to use a computer basically. And like, it's because of all of the people who are creating stuff online and all the information's out there. It's really easy to just build your own stuff. And if you do it, then like it exists and other people can take advantage of it. Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of memes that are really funny that like wouldn't have existed without Dingboard. So I'm kind of proud of that.
I do love that every single meme made by Dingboard, it's somehow this like internal challenge that you put the word Dingboard, that like that little graphical Dingboard, like you just have to hide it somewhere in the image, just a little bit of it, no matter what it is, just even a little teeny tiny bit. I love that there's a meme inside the memes. Like it's so good.
It's like the like. I think it's because I respect my users as well. Like a lot of like image editing applications. I mean, I'm the user, right? Like I've got to respect the user because I'm the one who probably uses it the most, right? And if I'm going to force myself to put a watermark on every image, that's just lame, dude. That sucks. And if you actually respect your users, they're going to want to pay you back by putting the watermark on the image because they're like, oh, like the software is great. Like, I'm going to put this watermark on it because I just like it and I want to help it out. And it's actually like, kind of like a really good sort of marketing funnel as well. So,
all right, so let's try to get back. So you obviously you're a neater, founder mode, building something that you just really want, and you put it out there. You start making it. Now there's some sort of road that takes you from just building Photoshop replacement to working at X. How did one lead to the other?
So I actually ended up getting a lot of users, some of which were people who worked at X. I ended up talking to them. I kind of asked them if they would be interested in acquiring Dingboard. I got a meeting with the big cheese, Elon. I got to meet him. And it's not hard to meet Elon. He's like working all the time. So I tried to sell it to him. He was like, that's an interesting idea. I like it. I'll think about it. He said no. I wasn't able to close the deal, which is, sucks for my kids. But at the end of it, I also got a job offer to work at X, and I use the application all the time. Like I use X all the time. I also missed working at a big tech company, so I missed working at that scale. And in fact, the scale I had touched before was an order of magnitude less than what we have at X, and I thought it would be really fun. And I really love the software. And I've really learned. I'm really glad I actually made that decision to go to X, because it's not just the engineers that work there right now, but it's also the engineers that were there before me. They've built this really like incredible infrastructure with the resources that they have and challenges they've had. So it's really just like looking at all that history and being really appreciative of all those engineers, not only as a engineer who works there whose life is a lot easier, but also as a user, right? Like the system is going to stay up because it's just engineered really well. And it's important for me to stay up. It's important for you guys also because, you're streaming on X, you're like, sharing your information on X, you're interacting with people very naturally on X, right? So it's important for you guys, because you're both business owners, right? It's important for you guys to actually have X stay up. So it's really cool for me to work with those people and also like, get a chance to become one of those people as well. And like, it's like really fun. So I was like, yeah, for sure. Like I'm down to do that. And here I am. So working at X, it's been really great. Honestly, it's been really, really nice.
So how, at some point you knew that Dingboard was more than just a side project. Like what was the moment that you knew that you've gone from, oh, this is just a funny thing that I do by watching coming of age movies with my wife to now it is officially, it's go time. I got to like put a little bit of effort into it.
Well, I haven't put a lot of effort into it. So I don't think it has ever escaped side project stage, to be honest. Like it kind of does its job right now, and that's fine. I think what was really shocking actually was how easy it was to make a profitable product, because I had spent, some time like visiting SF and talking to all these people and being part of that, Silicon Valley raise money culture. And I thought it was a lot harder to like make enough money to be profitable. Mm-hmm. It's a lot easier. Like, I think that was the actual shock for me. I was like, man, like, so I basically just like, hit the refresh button on the start dashboard over and over again. And eventually I was like, wow, like this is like replaced all my, like, it's like I could basically live forever now. Like in terms of like the amount of McDoubles I consume, I was measuring it in McDoubles because that's like the unit. It's a perfect unit of the economy, right? Like a McDouble is like, it's got everything. It's got real estate. It's got labor. It's got like engineering. Like there's like all these machines in the process. There's gas in it, right? Like, cause you have to move the actual patties from point A to point B, cows, and lettuce and cheese and onions and ketchup. And sometimes cheese, if you want it. But I would measure it in McDoubles, and there was a point where it was like, oh, like I could actually just like I have an infinite McDouble machine. I think that's when it got like really serious.
I never once thought of this.
Oh, I was going to say, I love this. That's going to be my new unit of measurement.
It's a great index of inflation, right? So if you're doing all your accounting, like when you're dealing with like the IRS or the CRA, the Canadian IRS, do it in real numbers. They don't like it when you give them McDoubles. But when you're trying to like plan your family's future and your own future, do it in McDoubles because that's indexed in inflation. No one can lie to you about the price of McDouble. It's like you can go to McDonald's and just like get a McDouble and just like write it down on a piece of paper.
True. And they're trying to make money, so they don't want to lie to you either.
Is there a point? How does shrinkflation impact your McDouble score?
Oh, I know. If the McDoubles get smaller, trust me, I will know.
I know, but how does it?
You'll start losing weight.
I eat them.
But how does it affect your planning? Because now your planning just got more expensive. You need more McDoubles.
Oh, true.
Now.
Good point. You need more McDoubles.
Your previous McDouble rating is now worthless.
I trust McDonald's to not betray me. It's been many years. I've been a loyal customer and I haven't been betrayed once, and I don't think it'll change. Also, besides McDonald's, if we're doing corporate sponsorships that I wasn't paid for, Costco as well.
Executive member, yeah.
That's me.
Same.
I'm also an executive member.
Yeah, it's a good place to go.
We don't even have a Costco in Rapid City, and I'm still an executive member to this day.
You kind of have to be with your sub message, Prime.
Fair.
It only makes sense. I think one of the things that I thought would be kind of fun to talk about for Dingboard, I'd like to get your opinion on, is I think there's a great quote from Aaron Francis. Shout out to Aaron. I think probably each of us have interacted with him. But he talks about how like publishing increases your luck surface. And I think that's something really underrated that a lot of people don't really get, is like, even if, let's say Dingboard, it's not making you, generational wealth, right now or something like this, right? It's still just like the fact of publishing it and talking about what you're doing makes people see it. And I think people are not sometimes doing enough of that. And like the other thing is there's a certain authenticity when you're just posting about what you're doing. You're not just like reply guying somebody. Like, I'm not a big fan of the reply guy. Like, you see it all the time in like Levels IO's replies. People are like, Levels, I'm starting a startup. Can you retweet this for me and stuff? Okay, not the right strategy. Yeah. What do you think like some good strategies are for people doing like posting about what they're building and other stuff like that?
Well, honestly, like doing what you guys are doing, which is like actually just like, it's called D20 theory. Okay. D20 theory. People always go like, Prime and TJ, you guys have such big platforms. You're so lucky. And it's like, well, you were rolling the D20s every single day. Yeah. You got lucky like 10 times, but it's because you rolled the dice like, 100 times. It's, 200. It's you got to take more chances, and you got to like increase the you got to like reduce the cycle time of actually making bets and taking risks. And all these risks are basically zero cost. And you just have to like, I don't know, man, you just got to do it, right? Like there's always a small chance of like being successful. And I think what's really great about this is that kind of like it, spits in the face of strategy or whatever. It's like, man, like honestly, if you build something that's actually very useful, people will just use it. Like people will be happy that you're talking about it because it's better than anything that exists. And it's not that hard to do that either. And like, also I think like, again, to call back what I said earlier, which is if you post about it and you share it with people, it's going to actually motivate you more to work on it. Right. Like people are going to be really excited to, like people are going to be excited to use it. You're going to be excited to give something cool, really cool to people. And like, also, if you post more, and like you make a post that sucks, the algorithm will just take care of it for you. It'll just not show it to anyone. It'll just like protect that like no one wants to see it. And if people like it, then the algorithm will share it and just, post more often. It was a pretty funny like video I saw of you, Prime, where you're like scrolling through my posts and you're like
I was trying to find something that you tweeted yesterday.
Dude, so
Dude, I had to go through a battlefield just to get to the tweet.
It's so bad. It's actually so bad. Like, I'm actually kind of addicted to my phone. So, but yeah, like sometimes I'm like looking for something and I can't find it because I posted like 30 times and I'll just give up. So.
Yeah, well, I will say I do think there's an upper bound maybe of how much to post. I'm not sure if you've crossed it yet, but I do think, I think the thing about D20 theory I like quite a bit, as well as I think there's something people are missing that you kind of do need to send a lot of bad like project ideas and posts and other stuff, and then you find out what's bad, right?
Yep.
One of the things that I think is really interesting about Neovim, and actually I'm gonna do like a much longer talk about this in like a month at VimConf, which is fun. The one in Japan, which is exciting. Oh, we also have NeoVimConf coming soon. But
bro's just self-promoting hard right now.
Why not? I mean, Yap's only talking about his X profile over and over, so I figured it's our turn too. But the idea is sort of like one of the things about working on Neovim that made me a much better developer is not like that I can type fast and do text edits and stuff, but instead that I've had a lot of opportunities to iterate quickly on an idea, find out what ideas sucked, and then just change them. And I can tell that they suck because I'm the user. Like when I worked at like my first startup that I did, and we were making software for recruiters, I'm not a recruiter. Yep. So like, I don't know if it's good or not. The iteration speed and the cycle is way longer. I have to wait 4 weeks maybe to hear back from a customer or something. Right. And so it's like, okay, well, it's going to take me all year to figure out if I have a few good ideas or not.
Yep.
Versus, now I'm iterating locally on my own thing. I try it for a day. That sucked. I try the new one. So I feel like it's similar for you, like with Dingboard.
Yep. I mean, like, I think it's like with all my projects too. The first thing I'll do is I'll always set up like a hot reloading script. Like I needed to set it up because you guys do this too, because you're like streaming often when you're working. And if you have to like tab over to something, press Command 2 and then like press, write your command to run the thing. Like that's, I'm not going to watch you because like, why do you not have a hot reloading script? But when you reduce that cycle time, you can make so many more experiments. You can learn so much faster, and you're basically going through a much more rapid information acquisition. And you get to things a lot quicker, right? Like, I think this is why, like you said, TJ, why being your own user is so powerful, because you don't have to communicate with someone and ask them a question and then come back, right? Yeah, like 100%. And I think this is like with all my projects. And what will often happen is that when you try to do something, you'll come across a challenge, and then that challenge will actually be the product that you end up creating that will be very, very useful to other people, that will be like somewhat of a commercial success, right? Like, so again, like I don't work on Dingboard anymore, but what I've been working on is something called a Dingbot, which is a robot. And I've been struggling with the very long cycle time of hardware and electronics. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing that idea of small cycle time from software to hardware. I've got a 3D printer. I'm like writing my own CAD software. Like I need to go from prototype, like from design idea to prototype to like actual like reinforcement learning model, completely trained. Like again, there's a reason I have this block of GPU on my desk, right? I want to be able to go from like idea to product as fast as possible. And that way I can find out what's actually useful. So you got to bring down that cycle time. Another way you can bring down cycle time is like actually removing things, just like not doing things. Like for example, like, do you really need a UI? Do you need a website? Do you actually need, are you like all those sorts of things that you're building? Like, do you really need like an installer? Like if you're grabbing Neovim, you just like make a curl, you'll read the curl script and you just like curl it and bang, you have it, like some binary, right? So yeah, like, so I think cycle time is super, super important.
Help me on the cycle time, because you also just said you're writing your own CAD software. Why not just learn plasticity?
Because I want CAD software that's hackable, because there's inevitably going to be things that, like, there's a reason, like, you know, I've watched you use your computer crime. Like you have everything set up. There's a button, you press a button, you know where the thing is. It's always going to be the same spot.
Harpoon
and that
mentality.
like, was like, exactly, right? Like, and that tiny reduction, right, is like very, very useful. And I can't do that from using someone's garbage software, dude. Fusion 360 Solid Fusion, it sucks, dude. It makes me, it sucks. It actually sucks. Why isn't there like some like functional programming language I can just like write the thing? I want a cube. Why is it so hard to make a cube? Why do I have to click around a UI like I'm some kind of like monkey, dude? Like, just let me, I want to write cube like 50 by 50 by 50 at origin 00. Why can't I just do that? So that's why I'm writing my own CAD software, because software tends to suck, as you guys probably know. But you know, both Linux users, there's a reason you're a Linux user, because when you're like using a MacBook and you're like sliding right and left, why is there like 500 milliseconds? It's 500 milliseconds.
Oh my gosh, don't even talk about that. That gives me like heartaches right now.
I literally like use my MacBook as like, I just SSH my personal MacBook. I just SSH my cluster here in my basement. And like, I just, you know, just don't use your window manager. Fuck's sakes, dude.
Okay, now you're speaking my love language. That's actually, so one of the reasons why I switched to Linux was because I couldn't get that 500 millisecond swipe delay off of my Mac, because I watched a god tier dev just with Emacs just going to town, and I'm just like, dude, how's he doing this? And he's like popping all over, and so I'm like,
he's like playing Super Smash Bros. Melee on his keyboard, right? Like he's got you see these people like, you know, the goofy keyboards. Sorry, I like nearly just like launch my stuff here. I mean, the goofy keyboards and like you know, insane setups, and you're there with a MacBook and you're sliding around like you're some grandma using Facebook. Not that there's anything wrong with grandmas using Facebook, but I'm not a grandma using Facebook.
I'm glad that you prefaced that, because the grandmas in this audience were about to just
whoa. We're live right now on Facebook.com, and all of the grandmas are saying, I'm going to the Facebook to complain about that one.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, so you've been doing this hardware business and you're trying to lower it by, I'm still just confused. Like, where do you draw the line that learning something is better? So hear me out. Vim is really intense to learn, right? Like it takes a lot of effort. So is there something like plasticity that actually is worth it to learn because you can do it fast if you just took the time to learn it? Or like, how do you know when to stop reinventing the wheel?
When I use a software and it's crap, right? Like, it's like if I use a software and everything is crap, it's just like, I'm just not going to use it. I refuse to use crappy software. Like I used, you know, Vim and Neovim. It's like, this is great. Like, I like the way this feels. And I kept on using it, right? I stopped using VS Code because I tried to like I wrote like a little plugin where I have whatever LLM I want stream, you know, text into my text editor, similar to the one you were just building, TJ, on stream. And I tried to do it on VS Code, and I was like, it was garbage. It was like I had to like use something called Yeoman to like some ancient npm.
Yeoman
like,
is still there.
Dude, to make an extension, you have to like do. You see that? Remember that little face, the little top hat that would pop
Dude, that
up?
thing hasn't existed for a decade.
Yeah, it's 2024. Like, why am I doing that? And then with, you know, Neovim, it's like I write a Lua file, save it, it automatically like reloads, like so much better. So yeah, that's why I use that's why I'll switch over to software. For me, the important thing is hackability, right? And these large corporations, they hate hackability because it like reduces their moat, right? Like it reduces their ability to like just like suck the money out of you, right? And there's nothing wrong with sucking money. I love sucking money out of people. It's great. Sucking money is a good thing. You got to go make your money, right? But I like to hack my software. That is an important feature for me. So I will go pay someone else to like produce software for me, which is hackable.
Yeah, I'm still recovering from sucking the money out of you. Just give me a moment.
Just play the elevator music for Prime right now. I think people do really underestimate what you can do if you're able, as a software developer. Obviously, like my dad's an accountant. He doesn't care if software is hackable or not. He just wants to make sure he has the little numpad on his keyboard.
Yeah,
He can press the numbers really
VBA
fast.
and a pass-through ribbon, right? That's all you need.
Yeah, that's all he needs. But the iterating and going quickly is one part, which we talked about, which I think is important. But the other thing is sort of illuminated by you saying, I just won't use software that's crap, is especially for side projects and for learning, all the little bumps along the way of something being annoying or making you unhappy, those are just opportunities for you to quit and stop doing it, which is bad. Like you should have made it so that it was impossible to walk through your squat rack without bending over and getting underneath the squat bar. So you felt like you had to do a squat. Like, I'm already here, right? Walking through this way, that's just an opportunity to quit squatting, you know? And so I feel says the guy who's not currently doing a lot of working out. But I didn't put a squat rack in my house either. So I didn't lie to myself. You know, I didn't lie to myself. But I think that's sort of the thing people are missing sometimes, whether it's like Vim or Neovim or some other project, right? People are missing that when you eliminate those annoyances, you're really helping yourself long term to stay engaged with the thing that you're doing. I think that's what you're getting after, right?
It's anything that like adds friction is something that will throw you off the mark, and you have to be very guarded against it. And it's just one of those things that like I really frustrates me. Like, I don't think people really realize how, like, even just milliseconds of latency will throw off conversion. For example, like if you're you have a product that you're selling, and you want people to pay for it, and they land on the checking page, and the checking page takes 100 milliseconds longer to load than normal, you'll actually lose like some percentage of your customers. It actually really matters. Like, humans are very, very well tuned to very small latency differences, which is why like animations are awful, right? So yeah, pretty much, yeah.
That's like the McMaster thing. Everyone's talking about how fast it is, and I saw somebody commenting like, yeah, also they just don't have animations. And like, it's a surefire way to make a fast website feel slow is just adding 250 millisecond pauses in between your actions.
To be fair, some advice. Oh, sorry, you go.
Sorry about that. So some advice to some of the watchers who probably have like day jobs, and you want to like have high impact really quickly. You know, do a 50% flip on all the users that use your website, measure conversion, and just delete all the animations for one group and see what happens. And you might actually justify your entire salary for the next 10 years if you do that.
I like this.
I like it.
I like where this is going. All right, so there's something kind of unique about writing things yourself, which is that whenever you use anything, it doesn't really matter what it is, you're using someone's opinion that's meant to mold into the general ability to solve this problem. But your problem can be really, really, really specific.
Yep.
And so there is some value that I think we're missing here on writing the software for yourself. Because even though you're writing your own CAD software, which I think we could all agree is like clinically insane to actually attempt to do that, to write actual CAD software. But if you only have one problem you're attempting to solve, and to solve that in the most nice way, which is you want to be able to script some basic shape editing, all of a sudden that like takes on a whole new life. You're solving one problem super well just for you.
Yep. It's like no one will understand what you want better than yourself. So the best person to make a product for you is yourself, right? This like goes across like all dimensions. And I think it's what will often happen is that your taste will translate really well to others as well. And you know what, man, it's fun at the end of the day. Like, I have some extra time in the evenings. I might as well do it building the stuff I want. Like, again, like this isn't like, I'm not like actually trying, like, you know, I'm like waking up in the morning and popping a caffeine pill and going founder mode and being like, not now, babe, I can't make you a coffee. Like I'm in founder mode. That's not me. Right. Like, but what I am doing is I'm mostly like having fun. It's almost like having a hardware start. So really the reason I'm doing a hardware startup is because like 5 people on X, I bookmarked them and I'm gonna make fun of them when I eventually do it. They told me that building a hardware startup is hard. I was basically going around on X being like, yeah, you Silicon Valley, you Mr. Silicon Valley, you know, you have your head up so high, but you know, making a software company isn't so hard. I didn't even have to raise money. You guys think it's hard? It's not even hard. And then they started telling me that, you know, yeah, but you're doing a software startup. Software startups are easy. You know, try to hardware startup. And I was like, well, I'm sure that's easy too. So the reason I'm doing this is actually just to like own people online. It's not actually trying to make money. So like, you know, like if I see, you know, CAD software is in the way, like I'll just make CAD software because that's kind of funny. It's like also fun. It's funny, you know.
It's even better than if you win, you know, because then you get to say, oh, I also on the side made the CAD software, right? So it's so much better of a dunk at the end of the story, right? If you get to say, well, I did do that, but I also made a software startup at the same time, just to prove to you how easy it was. I did both at the same time.
And like, just like slightly mention it, right? Like, and again, like because it's not so serious, I can like do like things that are obviously bad decisions that are funny to me. Like, I'll tell you what I'm building right now. So doing robotics, first of all, doing production is boring, lazy. I'm just too lazy to do that. Production sucks, boring. You have to sit there with a soldering gun and like get a bunch of lead in your brain. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like whoever like some like from like a group of people who are like subscribed to me on X, I'm gonna randomly choose at random times. I'm going to send them a prototype, and the prototype is going to be complete dog shit. It's going to be 3D printed PLA. It's going to come with a form being like, if this blows up in your face, if the lithium ion battery goes on fire, it's not my fault because I'm not a trained electrician. And I'm going to also like make them bad on purpose because it's funny. Like I'm going to actually add like purposefully add design bugs to the things that make this intended use. You know, if it actually worked, it would be a great idea, but I'm going to purposely add little design bugs to like make it like not close all the way. So right now I'm really addicted to my phone. So I'm building a box. So robot's too hard. So the Dingbot, that's too difficult. So what I'm doing is the Ding box. And what it's going to do is it's going to shut your phone in because I'm too addicted to my phone, right? It's going to shut your phone in. And on the outside, there's going to be a QR code. This is the genius, right? Because you guys realize it's all about marketing. Or I'm selling Etsy goods. Basically, I'm an Etsy salesperson. And it's all about the marketing. So on the outside, when you put your phone in the box, there's going to be a small OLED screen. And there's going to be a QR code that you can scan. And then you can post online about how long your phone was in the box. So you can show off, and it's like a marketing thing.
Nice.
There's a little bit of a competition. Yet it all goes back to getting back online, though. So there's like a motivation to also get back.
Yeah, you know, you put your phone in the box, you close the box, and then you take a picture of the QR code on the outside of your phone.
Yeah, I was already going to ask. Does the QR code stay after you open? Because otherwise,
no, of course, it's shuts off because you open your phone, you open the box.
Okay, so your wife has to come and do it. So you have to show that you have a wife too. Sorry, taken from my wife's phone. You wouldn't understand a real one.
You guys are married, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys?
Well, not like. I mean, we both have wives.
Yeah. How do you guys find the balance between like programming and like streaming and content creation and working on open source projects? How do you guys find the balance with that in family?
I have a pretty easy answer, which is that I get up early.
Okay,
I know that's a hard one. But then not only that, then I obviously try to work through the time and try to be as little as possible on Twitter. I find myself, as long as I just focus and build the thing, right? That's a big important part. And then only stream brain get on there and just toss something stupid on, then get back, go back. But then in the evenings, I have a bunch of kids that play soccer. So whenever there's a bunch of kids going to soccer, my wife has been wanting to help me have more time to be able to do the courses and stuff like that. So she leaves, and then all the just extraneous extra stuff that I want to do, she leaves, takes all the kids, takes them to soccer, and while she's going to soccer, I get to hop on and do an extra like 2 hours, 3 hours in the evening. So it helps me get up to like that. I'm trying to get up to like that 60-hour-a-week mark. It's just really difficult with kids because I just don't want to miss any time with the kiddos. And so even like Saturday morning, 6:30 a.m., kids are up. Oh, I'm like, I'm ready. I'm ready to go and play with them. So
the really cool thing about being a business owner is that like you can kind of like co-opt your kids into the business if they're interested, or like kind of like interact with them and do things with them. And like, for example, if you're creating courses, you might want to create a course for kids or your kids' age. And that would be something that you could do with your kids at the same time. And you're kind of like double dipping in a sort. But also like, having a partner who's really, really supportive is really great. I have that too. So my wife is super, super supportive of me. Just like having a day job and then also like tinkering with like little, breadboards and stuff after work can be a huge time sink. And I've been getting quite a lot of support from her as well. So.
Yeah, I find too, it's important. You kind of got to go all the way on whatever thing is that you're currently doing. Like Brian, we talk about this quite a bit too, which is like, I don't go 50% work, 50% like not working when I'm at work, and then 50% kid, 50% work like when I'm with them. It's like I put those away, so I'm focused on hanging out with my kids and building magnetile stuff and like, oh, can we make the marble do a loop? I don't know, let's try. And then we do,
Right.
and it's like there's just not doing something else at the same time. I think that part's pretty important, because it's way better, I think, to get like that focus time where you're actually your kids feel that they have your full attention, right? As opposed to like, oh, I'm still thinking about the project that I was doing or other stuff like this, right? So I think that part is pretty important. And then like for my side, I just generally have like the weekend, like Saturday and Sunday is just like, I just only do family stuff,
Right.
more or less, right? It's like Saturday we have scheduled stuff that we always do basically like as a fam, and then Sunday we do like church and other family stuff. So it's like those are just days where I usually don't get down into my office at all, which is helpful.
And when you're doing it, you're like focused, you're present, right? Like, and you get more, like, there's a lot more value in that time. If you're 50% at all times, you're not going to get the same amount of value for the time that you spend on either one of those things.
Yeah, I think your kids notice too, like if you're not really paying attention to them, like even if it doesn't really like register what they're like, why they feel, you know what I'm saying? Like, but they can get like, oh no, he's like actually focused on me.
Right.
We're gonna like build this or go run around the neighborhood with the dog or whatever it is. Like, oh, he's doing that and not also doing something else. I think those are like probably the main ways. And then when I had a real job, and I wasn't a startup founder, quote unquote, I think like the other thing was having scheduled time for it is really helpful. So like when I was doing streaming, I just had like set times that it would be like, these are the times that I want to stream. So like, let's see how we can make that happen. And then like, I just won't turn on stream on other days. You know what I'm saying? So it's like important to set boundaries both ways. I thought it was really helpful.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah. It's really good. It's hard, but you can definitely do it. And it's all about
turn off notifications.
Yeah, no, dude, my notifications are completely off. Like, yeah, it does. Because if a notification pops up, you're just, I mean, I have a lot of trouble with like things that are like on around me. Like I just can't, like, basically screens are like just these natural attractor basins for me, and I just like get sucked into them. So I'm literally building a box. I'm building a box to put my phone in, and it's going to lock in, and
So you've been able to accomplish a lot of things. I think a lot of people in this chat would be they yearn for the ability to get really good jobs. I think right now that it's difficult to get a good job, to be really proud of it, to be able to work on challenging things. I think there's a lot of just kind of more monotonous, I would say almost like eating your Wheaties jobs available, more like instead of just being able to really dive into the stuff that truly interests you. What would you say is like the greatest thing you can do to go from doing something in which maybe you don't really love, you feel really kind of down on, it makes you feel burnt out, to doing things that you actually are excited about?
You have to like psyop yourself into liking what you're doing. Because if you don't like what you're doing, you're not going to be successful at it. And if you don't like your job, if you don't enjoy your job, if you're not like in agreement of doing your job well and honestly, I think that you should be honest about the fact that you're not working your job the best you could, and leave that station for someone else. I genuinely believe this, and I think like if you also believe this, then you'll actually start really appreciating your job for what it is. Like, I think that you can find a lot of joy in the really mundane work. It's important to do, right? Like if you don't do that mundane work, like crap, like it'll just blow up in your face. Like it's, if you're not doing work that you think is truly helpful, find something that's broken and go fix it. And no one will complain. If people are complaining and they don't want you to actually go fix broken stuff, then find another job, dude. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, and also like, another thing I will say is that you can create your own work pretty easily. I think a lot of folks who are trying to get programming jobs, they should start thinking about their own job as a programming job. TJ, you said like your dad's an accountant, right? Like accountants can write VB scripts to like automate some of their work. I mean, that's like, you're literally getting more work done by writing code at your job. And you're basically a software developer. You're not just a software developer, you're a software developer and an accounting specialist. So you're kind of like merging two skills together. You become a lot more rare. And as a result of increasing your rarity, you have a lot more leverage in your negotiation with your employer, your current employer, or maybe possibly your future employers. So I think all those things apply. Like you should definitely code, because I really think programming is, I mean, obviously I'm a bit biased, but programming is one of those core skills that just helps you be a human, right? Like you can automate so many things. You can automate like, your taxes, parts of your taxes at least. You can automate like, you can, script out ads or certain things on your web browser. For example, if you get too distracted by notifications, you can just like script out your web browser to hide your notifications for the really fun website that you're participating in. So I think like you should think of yourself as a programmer and like automate things in your boring job, or like learn and enjoy the boring, monotonous stuff and figure out how to get more of it done faster, right? Like if you're just there to like, oh, like I'm here to just do my job and I'm stuck here all day, of course you're going to hate your job. You don't want to be there, right? Like actually try to help, dude. Like help, like fix problems, man. There's so many problems. There's so many, we need help. Like everyone needs help. There's so many things that could be better.
Yeah, I'll even admit, even though I've been complaining jokingly about having to do emails and prime schedule for things, like it's actually fun because then we get to do more like fun things together, like Top Shelf, right? So it's like I'm really like I quit working at big companies because I didn't like email. And now that I'm a founder mode, engaged, startup mode, I'm sending more emails than I ever have before as Prime and I are trying to figure out a bunch of stuff. But it's like actually fun because the way that I'm psyoping myself, as you said, is that it's like, oh, this is the thing I need to do to get to do the fun things that we like can accomplish together, right? Like having Top Shelf or doing goofy stuff like having Terminal Coffee or whatever it is, right? It's like all those things are enabled by the emails.
Yep.
Right. And so it's like, okay, so then we do the emails and it's fun.
Yes. It's the same thing as even if you're just working as a software developer, there's going to be things that are like, oh man, this like thing is flapping and like, I don't want to deal with it right now. But if you don't deal with it right now, in the future, you're going to have to deal with it. And then you're going to be working on something you actually want to be working on. And you're going to get interrupted by something that's like flaring up. Also, there's a huge responsibility. You need to like not let things flap. Yeah, like it's you know, like, and this is why all work is important, right? Like I think every single job is really, really important because especially you're doing something, right? Like you're always creating some value, right? Like, and you're also like having fun, like, you know, just it's easy to enjoy email, dude. It's like, you just gotta like, I've set it up. I actually set up my email like with shortcuts and stuff. I just like spam the archive button and like, I'll like tab out and it's just like playing Street Fighter. That's what I tell myself, at least.
That's pretty great. I went a different route, which is I got TJ to send all my emails.
And that's the thing he thinks is really fun, is psyoping me into thinking
there we go.
Is fun. Prime's just sitting internal monologuing right now like, haha, I really tricked him, that idiot. Email's fun. What a
Huckleberry Finn to this
fool.
guy. So good, man. Painting fences is great.
TJ, CEO of emails.
Chief Email Officer. That's why we call him CEO.
That's many such cases.
Well, this has been absolutely wonderful, and I can't believe we got to do a face reveal. I had no idea how long of hair you had.
Yeah, I have super long hair. Yeah, I have really, really long hair. I'm also tall. I'm gonna stand up.
Okay.
Wait,
do you have a banana for scale?
Wait, I have a 4090 for scale. Let me just make sure my zipper's up. It's up. It's always up. And then we've got.
It's a good call. TOS, please. Thank you.
You guys have to see this 4090? 4090s are really big. This is not fair. Let's get an iPhone. iPhones are smaller. I'll see.
Yeah.
Do a squat right now.
No, I can't.
Right now.
I can't. I can't. I unfortunately cannot do that. I'll actually hurt myself.
Well, I mean, he was holding some weight. He had that 4090 in one hand, maybe the iPhone.
I'm literally just there in my bench, like.
Okay, he can bench a 4090. That's a lot of pounds.
I guess. A 4090 length. How long is this bad boy?
He's getting.
Dude, I'm 6'3". I'm not lying.
Dude, it's just under 12 inches long. Yeah.
Really? It seems smaller than that. Maybe it's because I'm so big.
Yeah, that's how I've heard that a lot on the internet, actually. Anyways.
Today's sponsor is Turso. I'm a longtime fan of the company, and I hope that you can be too. They have a pretty dang good free tier, which involves 500 databases of SQLite and unlimited in their Pro plan. They've also greatly improved the ecosystem of SQLite itself by forking SQLite and adding in encryption at rest and native vector embeddings as a type. Now, that may not impress you, but if you're on the AI side, you'll know how important that is, which means they have native vector search capabilities now within Turso. This allows you to do on-device reg, local vector search, and really crazy stuff with ephemeral databases. So if you happen to have a bunch of AI agents creating a bunch of databases, well, guess what? SQLite is literally the perfect style database for you. So go ahead, check them out at tur.so/thetopshelf. That is tur.so/thetopshelf.
So now we're going to move to our Q&A section of the Top Shelf to get off this topic. And
So
if you're part of the Top Shelf, you can send questions in the Discord in Top Shelf, and we'll forward the best ones over to Yaccine.
Yep.
Yaccine, before we get started with theirs, let's talk a little bit as the first question just about initially transitioning to Neovim. I'm interested to hear about some initial impressions you had and sort of like what was your first week and month like as you started Neovim?
I've always been like a VI keybind user, so it was pretty easy. I used Vim via VI like quite often, just servers and stuff, and it was just, I don't know, it was sick. It just worked. There was like a weird deadlocking issue on one particular version on a particular like Mac OS version. I was like, oh, that sucks, and then I figured it out. I think I will never switch over to anything else. One of the things I would like is the ability to actually like inline images, which I think is possible because I use Kitty and they have a protocol, so I can probably get that to do that. One of the things I really want is like LaTeX on Neovim, and there's something called Nabla, which I've been using, and it's pretty decent and does like an ASCII rendering. But I don't know, man, it's like one of the better software. I mean, it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It does what it says on the tin. It lets you edit text. You can interact with plugins. I was really impressed with the plugin workflow. Like I was super, super impressed with how well that worked. Like I think that's why I use it, right? Like that is why I stopped using VS Code, besides the fact that it's, crappy in every other way. And I mean, dude, like, it took me like, I saw you this morning, you're working on like a AI text editor tool. And I use like LLMs quite often when I work. Mm-hmm. And it took you like, I don't know, like a morning. It took me like an evening to build it. And no one else could have done that. Like for me, like the specific thing that I wanted, which is just like, I want to be able to talk to an LLM in my text editor. So
yeah, mine is a little goofier than the one that you've done with Ding LLM, which is you just have a table in Lua, and then you say like generate dot, and then the name of something like pick random Neovim color scheme and call it. And it will just ask the LLM to generate a function. It saves that so that if you call something with the same name again later, it'll reuse it. So it's very funny. It's just, I don't know. I just tried it. We'll see.
That's awesome.
See if it's any good.
It's really cool.
Side note. Yeah. Speaking of plugins in Neovim, GUIs are just Neovim plugins. So if you ever wanted to write your own Neovim GUI, it's super easy to do, and you could then display images and anything else however you wanted.
Interesting.
Unburdened by what has been in the terminal. You can be free to do anything you'd like.
Could I write shaders?
Yeah. I mean, you can do anything. It's literally just it talks back and forth with RPC, and you get different things about the state, and so you could choose to render it in any way you want. There's a couple popular ones. I think one at one point, FVim, just because I think it's written in F# maybe, even could do like it had support for showing fonts as different sizes. So you could do something like when you're editing Markdown, you would just display headers as big text, right? So anyways, just something to throw out there.
That's a good way to abstract it, like RPC over RPC over the state, instead of like bundling it in. Okay.
GUIs are just plugins. That was a very distinctive difference from Vim and Neovim. Like to this day, is GVim is part of Vim, right? Like when you build GVim, it's like in the same project, but Neovim GUIs are just they're just plugins. So it's pretty cool. All right, we have our very first question here from Code Girl. Normally I wouldn't ask this question, but Code Girl, big fan. If you arm wrestled Prime, who would win?
There's only one way to find out.
Oh, true. Good point.
I'm ready.
Maybe I'll start working out.
You better hit that squat rack.
It's
an arm wrestle, not
I was misdirecting him, so he works out the wrong one.
Yes, the squat rack. That's what you need. Historically speaking, that the best arm wrestlers are good squatters.
That is the one. All right, I got a real question here. Yaccine, what project you created that was a complete fail, and what did you learn from it?
Give me a second because I need to remember a complete fail. When I was I think 12 years old, I tried to build a Sonic clone on GameMaker. I failed pretty badly. I was just using the GUI to get Sonic to move faster. I downloaded a bunch of sprites online. I was really obsessed with Sonic as a kid. That was a fail. A lot of the times what will happen is I just lose interest. I think that's the usual, because I don't think really most things are kind of easy to do. It's just if you find out that it's not going to work, you just stop working on it. And there's only one way to do that, and it's actually try. I wouldn't really call anything a failure. there's definitely things I've thought would work and then they didn't work. I've definitely blown up some pretty large systems at like my day jobs, previous and current, maybe. No, not yet. But possibly in the future. I think those are like, yeah.
not closing the door on that one. Yeah.
no, it'll happen. It'll happen. Yeah, like I think like most of my failures would probably be like, yeah, like incidents caused by me being bad at reviewing code sometimes and just like missing lines or stuff. Like that's my biggest one of my biggest weaknesses is my ability to pay attention to small details. So I've built like little habits to help myself. So what I'll do when I put up a diff is I'll actually like let it soak and I'll review it as if I'm reviewing someone else's diff the next morning. And I'll often find these obvious mistakes that would just like waste other people's time. So I figured out little tricks to help me with that, and I've had to adapt to deal with my deficiencies.
I do that all the time. Back when I was not in founder mode, and
okay, I would like, since when?
Yeah, no, whenever I put up code for people to review, I would first do the diff on either GitHub or Stash or wherever I was hosting it, so I can look at it in different eyes. Because if I looked at it in my editor or even in like a terminal diff or an editor diff, I just never saw it. It just didn't exist. But when I'm on GitHub, it's just like now I'm in a new mode. I'm in a different mode, and then always discover just like worthless lines or a comment that's just like something from something beforehand you forgot to delete. Now it just doesn't even apply at all.
It's so embarrassing, dude.
I know.
It's so embarrassing.
It's bad.
It's so embarrassing when it happens. And like I do the same thing. It's just like having it in a new screen in a web browser, and you're like actually trying to catch things, and like you go line by line. You have a little plus each line. You just like look at it.
Yeah, maybe it's also there's something about you've already trained your brain to be in review mode when you're looking at it in that spot. Whereas like when you're in your editor, you're in like, let's get stuff done mode. And I feel like my brain is set up quite differently. Like how I'm looking at the code when I do that. Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Well, why did you choose to be a programmer? And if not, what profession would you choose?
I chose to be a programmer because my mom told me to do it. She told me to go do computer science in university. I was like, sure, mom. And then I did it.
Great answer.
And I think like probably after my first year of university, I was like, hey, this is actually pretty fun. And then I kind of like strapped in and like started caring. And then I got my first job, I think in my second year of university, and I started working full-time doing school part-time. The reason I became a programmer was really just because of my mom. And if I wasn't a programmer, I'd probably like try to become a doctor. I'm really glad I didn't. Because being a doctor seems like a really hard job. I really respect people who do it. And I probably would have a lot more fun. I think anyone would have a lot more fun being a programmer. So, yeah.
Why did your mom?
That's what I was going to ask. Go for it.
Yeah. Why did your mom choose programming?
Immigrant culture. She was a programmer. She's a programmer herself too. So that's part of the reason. But also just like immigrant culture where it's like, I mean, you go do engineering or doctor, you know, even from the culture I come from. So like my family is originally from Algeria, which is in North Africa, and they immigrated here to Canada. And I mean, you don't even have the option of being a lawyer, because like, what is a lawyer? Like, you're either a doctor, you're an engineer, or you're starving. Like, those are the three options, right? Like, so she was like, well, you're not going to become like, if you're like not sure about becoming a doctor, why don't you just do programming? I was like, okay, you'll get a job, and that's why I did it. Yeah. I mean, it's really just about like actually like, you know, maximizing your chance of like survival. And I'm glad that she told me that. I think she actually did see something in the future, and she saw how useful it was, because she worked in like California as a programmer for a while. So
can you you don't have to dox yourself, so don't feel like you have to answer, but like what was she writing? What's she coding up at this time, or still to this day if she's still programming?
So she's an Emacs user.
Base.
Yeah. And she was doing, you know, she started out doing punch cards, then moved to C and C++, doing like banking software. And then after that doing, what was the next thing she did? Java stuff. And then after that she became, she still codes a little bit. She likes Andre Karpathy. She calls him the AI teenager in French, so AI jeune. It's so she's been playing around with neural networks and stuff like that.
Sweet. I love that. That's pretty cool. Similar thing from my parents of just like you got to pick something that seems like is gonna be good. I did mechanical engineering at first, and then I found out that I didn't like making boxes. It's actually because I thought at the time before programming languages was literally like learning foreign languages.
Yep.
And I hated that because it's just memorizing like stupid rules that don't make any sense. Like English is the worst language of all. So you start off with a bad spot, right? And then you learn Spanish. You're like, oh, at least it makes more sense than English. But I thought that that's what people did for their whole life, was just learn like a foreign language, but for their job. I was like, that sounds terrible. And then I found out programming is not that at all. It's like logic and pattern recognition. And I fell in love when I was in college. But yeah,
I think like a lot of people who are like engineer minded will like translate well to software, because it's basically like plugging in things and like making things really modular, right? Like you know, you put an interface at some point and like you make it talk to this other thing, and you kind of have the same thing when you're doing mechanical designs. You design interfaces, and an interface, right? Like an interface is a thing that a face that touches itself,
right?
So yeah, like that's really interesting, and it's interesting to like see other people who like had come from similar backgrounds, because I think when you kind of come from a family where like there was like a little bit of strife early on, they kind of really stressed out like you gotta, you know, engineer, you got to become an engineer, you got to get a job, go to the local nuclear power plant like your dad or your mom.
I like this one. I'm pretty interested in this one, Prime. Static versus dynamic typing. Let's hear it. What are your thoughts?
Static versus dynamic typing. Good question. I don't know. It's whatever. Like I'll just use whatever it is that I think the more like you have to rely on language features, the less fun the thing is, right? Like I kind of like hate all programming languages except for JavaScript. So I love JavaScript because it just lets me do what I want to do. I don't really care. Whatever. Like just make it work. Just make it not crash.
Absolute soy boy answer.
That was not the. I was expecting interview canceled. We're done. We're out of here. Wait, so what are you writing your CAD software in?
So right now it's TypeScript, which I don't like, because I'll give a shout out. So the reason my thing is really just a wrapper right now around something called Manifold CAD, which is a Boolean mesh algebra built by some guy called, I think his name is Elish, and he's from Google, and he's open source software, and he's very, very smart. So I really, really appreciate him for the work he's done. And I'm building like a UX around that. And right now it's like, I'm using the same TypeScript library he put out. I just like, you know, made it really nice. So it's in TypeScript right now, but I want to move off of it. I'm probably going to move to just plain old JavaScript. And I am going to add a better renderer. So I don't like TypeScript. I like removing things. I don't like things. I don't want to add things. I want to get rid of things. TypeScript is a new thing. I hate things. I want to get less things. Like minification. Why don't we just load the JavaScript like Brendan Eich or whoever Mark Andreessen, whoever came up with browsers thought we would, right? Like, I don't like things.
I've somehow managed to hate and love everything you've just said at the exact same time.
The answer to static versus dynamic typing I was not expecting was just, well, I just love JavaScript.
I love JavaScript, not TypeScript, like JavaScript.
All right. Wow. Hey, okay. So Yaccine, why do you shitpost so much?
I don't know, man. I'm trying to figure it out. I really don't know. Like, there's no motivation. It's literally like, you know, because there's like ad revenue and stuff like that. People will be like, oh, you know, he's just baiting because
like
he's
$20 or something. It's not worth it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not worth it. And like, even if I wasn't getting paid to post, like I would still post incessantly. Even if I didn't have an identity, I didn't gain followers, I would still post incessantly. In fact, I posted just as much on anonymous image boards for a very long time. And I stopped using them because it just like capture got too annoying. That's why. That's literally why I stopped using it. I just been using the internet for a very long time. Like that's kind of like what I do for fun. And it's really funny to me to just like say things and like, I've gotten really good at like figuring out what to say that will split people. And I don't do it on purpose. I actually believe these things. I actually really believe it. That's why it works. It's like people like know I mean it because they've heard me talk about it. They know I really mean it. And often I'm wrong, but whatever, I'll learn. People will reply and be like, dude, you're wrong. I'm like, oh, I guess I am. It's fun, dude. It's
okay,
really
but
fun.
were you serious about capacitors? Surely you know that we use batteries for a reason.
Well, I was using an using an ESC or ECS. Apparently, there's this thing that you need to use to like plug into your brushless motor. I have a really nice brushless motor from China, super nice. It's got lots of stators, and it has capacitors in it. I was like, oh, that makes sense. So we are using capacitors. They're everywhere. If you look, if you open up anything, there's probably capacitors in this thing, right?
Well,
They're
yes,
amazing.
there definitely are capacitors in there.
But
There
you know,
definitely
they hold charge, right? So they're basically like batteries. They're like little batteries. It's like a buffer. And like,
when you say it that way, yes, you're correct. They're kind of like little batteries.
yeah,
It's
I mean,
like,
you
why
can,
do we have faucets? Just wait for it to rain. Like,
you don't understand when you don't understand. Okay, there's so much value in doing the thing the opposite way of everyone else. Because people just like, they're all following each other. They're all, usually people are dumb, and if I do the opposite of what people are doing, I might end up becoming a genius, right? Like, you can hand crank
dumber.
to charge a. No. Listen. Let's say you have a drone and you're out in the woods and you want to like see up in the sky, and you were in the woods for 2 years. Your lithium ion battery, you might have died. So you have a hand crank and you crank up the capacitor and you charge the capacitor to max. It can charge really quickly. And then you just like send your drone off or something like that. Like
But your drone go zzz.
Yeah, it'll go zzz, and then it'll,
wait, what would it do, Prime?
just use more.
Just more capacitors.
Just use more capacitors.
It all makes sense now.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's something there actually. Like you have, I really think there's something there. I don't know what I'm talking about. I literally learned about them like a week ago. I was like disassembling like my VR headset tracker because I didn't need it anymore. I was like, what are these little things? And I Googled it, and yeah.
Here's a very open-ended question. How do you feel about the way tech is going forward? Could you yap about it?
Dude, let's go, man. Oh my God, I'm so excited. You guys, oh my God. Are you guys paying attention? You guys see what's happening? I feel like I'm going nuts, dude. We have computers that are making art for people. We have Google is just like, Google's just like, we'll just open source media pipe. We'll just eye tracking with like neural networks that runs on a literal potato. It runs on web GPU and your web browser. It runs at like 120 FPS. Zuckerberg is just like, you know what? I'll just drop this, this model cost me, maybe 10, $20 million to train. Here, have fun. Right. I'm really, really excited about the state of technology, particularly software, particularly neural networks. And I think the thing that's changing is it's becoming a lot easier to run experiments with products because these neural networks are really easy to modulate and have them behave in a way that you want to behave. For example, TJ, you were working on like a thing that generates Lua functions. Normally, previously you would have to actually train your own model, which is a lot of work, but now you can kind of just like test it. And maybe if you want to make a better model or make your product better, you can train your own model or fine tune it to have it behave the way you want. There's like reinforcement learning is like literally just working, dude. Like reinforcement learning is actually being solved. We're in the process of solving reinforcement learning, which means that an idiot like me can get a bunch of potentiometers and capacitors and 3D print them in a mess and like have a robot learn how to stand. Like, I'm so excited. I'm like really excited about, particularly like, I think neural networks are just getting really, really good. And I'm really excited about like building cool things that help with accessibility. I'm excited about the prospect of having your computer use itself and automatically censor things for you, automatically hide things for you, because now we have basically our computers can understand things by just like looking at an image of it. So imagine if you don't have hands, or if you lost your hands in an accident or something, you now have a much bigger capacity to use your computer. Or if you're someone who has trouble reading and paying attention, if you're dyslexic, there are AI assistance tools that will read word by word for you. They use computer vision, and they use the really like good audio generating models. So I'm really excited. I mean, like anywhere you look, like there's like new products that you can build. Like it's the fact that I can actually write, CAD software. Like the next things I'm planning is like adding like click editing and like a renderer for it. The reason I can do this in my evenings is because I have these language models generating code for me. It's a lot easier. It's a lot faster for me to just like write code if I just like have it spit out all the code for me. I mean, it's never been a better time. I think we're like in a truly special time right now in technology. It's awesome, man. I've been having so much fun too. I've been having so much fun.
I shockingly agree with you. I do actually. I'm the anti-AI guy, but I think there's a lot of cool things.
It's
The
people who
fun
are like,
side is very exciting.
yes, the fun side is very exciting. It's like people who are like you got these people who are like, you got both ends of it, where like, oh, like let's accelerate, like let's replace all humans and stuff, and like we're all going to be like at a lineup at McDonald's to get our daily McDouble allotment, right? And then there's the other side where like AI is like going to take over the world, it's going to kill everyone and whatever, and people are like, it's going to change. No one's going to be a programmer anymore. I think it's the opposite. I think what I'm really excited about is augmenting people and helping them get more work done themselves and getting them to make more money themselves, like enabling people to become more of what they were before so that they're happier in their lives, right? Like I think it can be a very positive effect like that. Like helping people become more informed rather than using AI to generate misinformation, like AI generated things, like using the advancement in machine learning to, make policy changes legible for the average person. Like there's a bunch of legalese that like get put out in policy. We can have an AI that like decomposes into some symbolic predicate thing and then actually tell you what it like how much more taxes am I going to pay? Like literally tell me how much more money I am going to pay at the end of the year based on this thing. So that's what I care about. So I think there's like a lot of really great things. Like one thing I was really impressed by was OpenAI's advanced speech, and Facebook or Meta recently released an open source one, which is that's incredible. They just released an open source, full on speech model where you can interact with. I haven't read their paper yet, but what this means is that my grandmother, who speaks a dialect of Arabic that there is no written form of, can use a computer now. So we're making computers accessible to an entire group of people who didn't have the advantages that me and you guys have. Like we're advantage over these other people because they weren't born in the States or born in Canada. They didn't like learn English. If you learn English, you're advantage over other people. But I mean, I literally spoke to this thing in my dialect of Arabic, which doesn't have a written form, and it actually spoke back to me with the same accent. And I told it to modulate an accent of a specific town in the country I'm from, Blida, and it was like able to do that. And I mean, I was like quite shocked, and I was shocked in the sense of like, this is going to enable so much people. It's going to help so much people, right? Like people are going to be able to go to Home Depot, and instead of like having to like figure out how to use a phone, they can just like talk to their phone, because not everyone can Google, right? Like there's a very small portion of people can have the ability to Google and look things up on Reddit, right? Like most people can talk, right? So I'm really excited about that. I'm super, super excited about enabling people, right? So.
All right, I got a question from the Lex Friedman. Do you think Lisp is the superior programming language? And
Lisp,
why?
please, Lex, please unblock me. Please unblock me. Please unblock me. At Yaccine MTB, x.com/@YacineMTB. Please unblock me, dude. I love your podcast. Please unblock me. I don't know what I did. I mean, I sent a lot of posts, but
you yap it all the time. I think that's the first problem.
There's one of them for sure.
All right, but
to be fair, there's a lot of chances to get blocked. Like this is also rolling the D20. Is like sometimes the D20 lands on 1, and if you roll a lot of D20s, sometimes you roll once and you get failure.
Yeah, Lex, I love Lisp. Actually, it was like one of the key moments where I fell in love with programming. It's how I organize all my own code. It's a series of pipes. I can understand that. I'm a stupid person. I'm very dumb. I do understand is a series of pipes, and that's what Lisp is. And my dumb, stupid brain, I can understand Go. I can understand Lisp. I can understand JavaScript when it's written like Lisp. It's just functions calling functions, dude. That's all you need. Like, why are we inventing these new classes and things like that? I love Lisp. In fact, if I was, the philosopher king of the world, I would force everyone, by penalty of, life in prison. If you use anything other than Lisp, you go to prison for life. So that's what I think about Lisp.
Well, I didn't see that one coming either. I mean, we just went. Went from JavaScript to Lisp.
That was a lot of twists and turns. I love it.
I don't even know where to go with these things. Every single time.
Most important is Lex. Please unblock.
He asked. You've been unblocked. You've officially been unblocked.
Thanks, Chief.
We're making waves. We're changing the world. We're healing.
We're healing the world. I love this. Yeah. Now, but you just got to make sure you don't say anything stupid now. You got to make sure that was just an accidental block and not a design, because you roll ones every now and then.
If I post enough, the likelihood of him seeing something stupid will be lower. So maybe I should just post more.
Because the algorithm will only promote your best ones. Smart. That's really smart. You should try that for sure.
You should definitely give that a swing. All right. Do we got another
I
one?
wanted to ask one thing.
Yeah.
Let me ask one because I'm interested in this. I also think there's a lot of really powerful like applications for AI, and a lot of them I do think are at least possible to be good, like lots of other technologies. What are your thoughts about the likelihood of programming getting sort of like eliminated, right? All of us being replaced by Devin or some Devin lookalike.
It's like, my mom used to program in C++ and she got replaced by the JVM. She like learned how to do memory allocations, but it's still worth like knowing that stuff, right? Like, we've been basically continuously automating ourselves out of work, but actually understanding how things work and integrating that whole thing together is really important. And I think the thing that you need to focus on is fixing problems, okay? Because if you make your job fixing problems, as soon as we figure out a way to automatically fix all problems using AGI or whatever, magical technology we come up with, the problem of you not having a job is automatically fixed by that thing. So just focus on fixing problems and everything will work out, right? Like it's always worth knowing everything. In fact, if you've learned all the things previous and now you've been supplanted by this AI thing that like replaces it, or like this new technology, like you learned how the web browser worked, and then, damn Zuckerberg and his team of engineers came up with React and they ruined everything. But you know how the DOM works, which means that you know how React works, right? Like you understand it better. So I think that will apply. But it might be coping, right? Like I think like I'm really worried about like the speed of the technology advancement. So if it advances too quickly and we won't have enough time to adapt, and we'll have people who like it'll be asymmetric in how it affects people. And I think that's like the main risk. But like, yeah, programming is fun, whatever, dude. Like it's funner when the machine is writing code for you. What I like to do is like see the thing at the end of it. So if you like editing text, no one's going to stop you from editing text. You can always do that.
You would if you were the ruler, though, because you would say you could only edit Lisp.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, this is true.
Philosopher King, TJ. All right.
Sorry.
We're doing one last question, and chat will just not shut up about this. So I don't know how long this is going to take, and I really hope this isn't a landmine. But thoughts on aliens?
Thoughts on aliens? We have to be the first ones. We've got to be the first ones, right? Because if there are other aliens, we'd listen to, we'd hear them. And in fact, people
Dark
always
Forest.
say, but like no, Dark Forest is a meme. It's a big meme. I mean, I think that like as soon as intelligence seeds, it bootstraps, and it like consumes the whole universe, and everything gets destroyed. So we have to be the first ones, by the predicate, right? So that's what I think. No aliens.
Nice. I also think no aliens.
I also think no aliens.
Yeah, you guys are kind of aliens though.
But I do think I do think we should go to other places though.
Yeah, that'd be pretty radical.
Cool. Definitely.
Yeah. I was telling, so my son's 4, is my oldest, and he loves asking like engineering questions and all this other stuff. And like we talk a lot about rockets. I showed him the SpaceX landing thing. He didn't get why it was as cool as I thought it was, but he still thought it was cool because big light, big rocket, much wow. Like 4-year-old brain, it's still very cool. But I was like, I think you might get to go to outer space like in your lifetime.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Yeah. Like I'm not as confident that it'll be affordable enough during my lifetime. I'm like, I don't know, dude. You might get a chance. Yeah. Which is crazy. This is pretty cool. So I'm excited.
It is actually pretty cool that there is a non-zero chance that in 20 years, I'm just like too old to go to space. They're just like, sorry, you're just like, biologically you'd fall apart in space in like 20 days. Like you just can't do this.
I'm sure they would send you because then you'd be expendable. It's like you live most of your life already.
True. They just they're ready to get rid of him. They're like one last yap for mankind.
Bro, you've rolled one too many D20s. All right.
We've had enough of your YouTube videos. It's the prime time for you to get done.
Oh, that was fantastic. Well, thank you for taking your time to come join us. This was just splendid.
And thanks guys for like creating like useful things online and like helping kids out. Like a lot of kids I talk to know about you, Prime, and they are motivated by you to start. So that's really exciting to see. And you, TJ, as well, for like building out really useful tools that I use every day. So I really appreciate what you guys do. And I know how hard it is to organize things, to create content and to stream and to have a schedule and stuff. So I appreciate it and keep it up. You guys are doing great.
Oh, thanks. Do you have anything you want to self-promote?
Let's see. What time is it?
It's like, how much time do I have?
let's see, self-promote. Not really, man. The Ding box is coming out. The Ding bot, I mean. No guarantees that it's safe, and no guarantees that you will even get it. In fact, I might just give up on the project and never talk about it again.
It's perfect.
MIT license. I'm not going to put up the source code. It's closed source. I need to get paid, dude.
I meant the thing itself, because it's no responsibility.
No responsibility. Does that work with like blowing someone's house up, like lighting their house on fire?
I am not a lawyer.
Hey,
fair enough.
You just asked somebody randomly on the internet if it was okay to blow up somebody else's house.
The Ding box coming soon. Probably never.
How many capacitors does it have?
It's got to have at least one.
I love
design decision.
Yeah,
design decision.
I cannot wait for you to design hardware just to use at least one capacitor.
You have to wind it up and charge the capacitor so that the box can open.
Oh, there you go.
That's
a good strategy. Well, on that, we're going to end. Thanks, everybody, for coming to another episode of Top Shelf. Thanks, Yaccine, for being here. The link to his prolific X account will be in the description for the video and for the podcast. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.